All right, everybody, welcome to the official SSH section of the RTFM. We're going to talk about SSH. SSH is a tool or a program that administrators use to access Linux machines. Now, this tool is especially important when administrators are logging into machines without a GUI. You know, in Windows, we're used to having, or even on this box right here, we're used to having windows and all these other things that we can open, we can click, we can open a web browser, right? We can do whatever we want. But sometimes a lot of Linux machines don't have any GUI of any type. It's just a console, it's just a terminal, and administrators will need to log in and administer that box all by that terminal. Now, this frees up a lot of resources on the machine. Instead of having to run these big complex GUIs, it can be kind of a stripped down, lean and mean system, which works really well for web servers or other things like that out there. Now, it is important to know most computer functions that you're clicking around in the GUI, changing your wallpaper, whatever you're doing, most of those functions can be done in a command line based interface. And the more you use your command line interface, the easier it's going to be to use more complex programs and other things. Now, as a red team operator, the majority of your work is going to be in terminal based applications. And you're going to see that when we're using the different tool sets we use throughout this course. Now, the first command we're going to run here is cat etc ssh known hosts. Now, there is no such file or directory. So this file can exist in multiple locations. In this instance, this specific location, it doesn't exist, and that's okay. We're going to go on to the next command here, which is cat ~ssh known hosts here. And that worked. It worked successfully, right? So this difference here, basically the known hosts file in this location is more of a system-wide location. However, I would say the most commonly used location is your profile location, which is right here. This is just saying, hey, cat out the known hosts file in my user profile.ssh/known hosts. Another way I could run this is cat home. I'm logged in as rogue operator.ssh known hosts. Again, this tilde is almost just like a short form for my home directory here. So hopefully that makes sense. So after running the cat or just listing out your known host file, you're going to see a bunch of different lines. This is actually one line here that's just kind of carried over to the new line, but you may have a number of different lines here depending on how many different boxes you've connected to. This is a kind of a fingerprint of the target machine. It's a hash identifier of the SSH service that's running, and it's unique to each and every host that you SSH into. And the point of this is just to add in a layer of protection. So if you go to SSH into a host that you use every single day for work, SSH will actually pop up if this fingerprint looks different after some time. It'll pop up and say, warning, you know, this host does not match what we have saved. It looks like somebody could be masquerading as that server or just man in the middling your traffic. It's definitely a bad thing. Whenever you see that, definitely think twice, think 3 times before you just proceed. Because if you do proceed, you're going to be passing authentication information. You're going to be passing a lot of info to that target that could be compromised. So if you are like cloning virtual machines, changing them around, you may have different fingerprint hashes changing for these different hosts, and that's okay. Typically, we want to open up this file, edit it, remove any entries you don't want, close it, and then when you connect to that host again, it'll save their new fingerprint and it'll be okay. First 2 commands done. Let's move on to the third here. This is an awesome tool. I use it all the time. Again, we're not in a Windows environment where we can copy paste files across. We have no GUI. We need to use command line based applications to conduct the various activities. Now, if you look at SCP, it's really easy to use. You always have your source and your destination. And if you're copying a file from the destination, from a remote computer, right, to your local computer, all you do is flip-flop. So take a look at this RTFM command. You'll see it's just flip-flopped remote and source destination. After you use this utility for a while, it will be a lot easier to use. Now, before we copy some files up to this redirector, let's make sure our SSH session works here. So we're going to do rogue operator, put in our IP. Again, this is a remote computer, this 172, 100, 110. This is a remote redirector, totally different machine, right? There is a line in the RTFM that shows how to connect to a target SSH server on a non-standard port. We're gonna go ahead and try that one. So let's put our TAC P in here. 22 is the standard port, but again, just kind of showing you all how to do this. If a target machine is listening on a completely different port, you can change it right here and you'll be good to go. So let me fire this one off. We'll log in. Success, cool. We were able to log into our target redirector here, this remote system. Again, this is a totally different system. We have remote access. We've logged in through our command terminal-based program. Now I want to upload the RTFM document up to this remote redirector. And again, I have no GUI access, so I'm going to do it using SCP here. So my source path here is going to be RTFM because I want to take the RTFM document and put it up on the remote machine, right? So my destination is now going to be my username at the redirector IP address, which in this case is the 172.100.110. You always do the :/ and then wherever you want to put it. I'm going to put it in the TMP folder here, pop in my password. Success. You can't get better than that, right? Pretty easy. Now let's go ahead and do the reverse. Let's go ahead and copy the RTFM document out of that temp folder back to our local machine. So our source path here is just going to be flip-flopped, right? So I could even come up here and highlight the exact path. Let's paste it down here. And then you want to make sure to actually give it the name, right? You're going to see me copy paste a lot in this video series, and there's a reason for that. If I copy paste file names and file paths, it's going to be way less likely I'm going to make a mistake, type something in wrong. In this job, you're going to be running some very sensitive commands. And if you typo, there's a chance it could crash the system or break it, something really bad. So make sure you're double checking all your syntax. Let's go ahead. We have our source here. We got to give it a destination. Let's copy it to our own temp folder here. Fire it off, enter our password. Perfect. We just SCP'd our document from the target back to our local machine. And I can just do a little ls here. This is going to list out all the files in this directory to confirm. Yes, awesome. We see a lot of junk in here, but our RTFM Word document is here as well. Now that wraps our SSH video. Jump through to the next one, and we're going to be finishing our SSH key setup.